Welcome to the new moon in Cancer. It is at 22 degrees Cancer, which makes it especially impactful for you if it's touching a sensitive part of your birth chart. So it's 22 degrees Cancer, 5:44 p. Oh no, 5:44 a.m. Eastern time, early in the morning, and conjunct Mercury. So we'll talk about what that means. Mercury is retrograde right now. We're going to be out of it soon, but we're still in it. And Cancer is ruled by the moon. And the moon governs intuition, emotion, and the roots that we come from, our ancestry, the invisible architecture of where we belong. The two archetypes that carry this sign, like I said, are the crab and the mother, and each one tells us something different about what Cancer is here to teach. So the crab has no natural defenses on its own. I mean, it borrows a shell for its home. It has to move homes entirely in order to grow. And during that transition, it's completely vulnerable. This is Cancer's whole developmental challenge held in a single image. Growth requires a season of vulnerability that can't be skipped or rushed. It has to be intentional. The crab also moves sideways rather than approaching things directly because the direct approach feels a little too exposed. And this can make Cancer reactive, defensive, or quick to withdraw when it senses threat. But that same crab will use its little pinchers to fight fiercely if it has to. The other archetype we're dealing with Cancer is the mother. This archetype adds the other half of the picture. Where the crab protects itself, the mother protects others with an unconditional and fierce commitment that will rise up if anyone she loves is threatened. She's the nurturing, gentle, tender, and deeply honest archetype, but she can also become controlling. She needs to be right because being wrong feels unbearably painful to a heart this tender. Like the crab retreating into its shell, she needs to withdraw sometimes simply to regenerate. Being a mother is a lot of work, and she feels everything so completely. She's other focused almost by instinct, and what she needs more than anything underneath all of it is simply to be loved. Whatever this sign brought you, whether it showed up as strength or as vulnerability or as some blend of both, this is your heritage. Belongs in the fourth house, the lowest part of the chart. It's the undercurrent beneath everything you do, you believe, and that you are. So let's talk a little bit about this new moon specifically, because a lot of it is about revisiting family patterns. With Mercury conjunct this new moon, it's more about looking backward instead of looking forward. Most of the time, new moons are about setting intentions for the future. This is more about gaining an awareness so that moving forward is possible. So these patterns aren't just old history, they're clues, active clues to the pattern that you're living out today. So let yourself sit for a minute with the identity that you took on based on the dynamic that you grew up with. So maybe you became the peacekeeper, the responsible one, the one who stayed so small so that everyone else could take up space, the one that everybody cared for. However it showed up, ask yourself honestly whether somehow in your daily life you still relate to that identity now. Notice how you give meaning to things because of these dynamics and what you tend to focus on as a result. Ask yourself whether these patterns are still at work in your life. Spoiler alert, they are. So this is a time to really take a deep dive. Get into the weeds because that's where the change happens. What perspectives on love, success, work, and money existed in your household when you were growing up? And are there things that your parents told you directly or just through example that deserve a second look now? Whether or not you chose to keep carrying them, you may still be carrying them. You know, when I was a kid, I got hand-me-downs from my cousins, and I had these pants that I don't know why, but the zipper was always stuck on these pants. And so my mom would get paraffin wax, like a big chunk of wax, and she would, rub it up and down the zipper so that hopefully I would be able to get it up and down on my own when I went to school. I was horrified by the prospect of going to school and having my zipper stuck, having to come out of the bathroom with my fly open essentially and ask my teacher for help. This example is small, and to a parent it may seem minute. Deal with it. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. I'll fix it for you with this paraffin. But as a kid, it signaled to me that my emotions and my feelings weren't that important and that I should just push through it and deal with the vulnerability that I felt because of the situation. I like to say, no one escapes childhood unscathed. It doesn't matter how good it seemed on the outside or even how good it seemed on the inside. Being a child is hard because adults don't remember what it was like being a child. And also, children's brains operate on different frequencies. They perceive the world like in this dream state. They don't process information the same. And so, kids get hurt inadvertently all the time. And those emotional hurts seep deep into our being, into our subconscious. And as adults, it's important to understand them so that we can work with those energies and heal them if need be. Underneath everything, though, these emotions, any emotions, really are allies. They're not the enemy, and they're not something to manage away. They're messengers, and each one is trying to tell you something specific. Let's go through a list. Anger. Anger tells you a boundary has been crossed. When it gets repressed instead of honored, it becomes depression, a quiet loss of agency. Grief tells you that you need to take more time to mourn. Take some time, allow yourself to cry and feel, and honor the thing that you're grieving. When that gets repressed, it becomes numbness or disconnection. Fear tells you that you don't feel safe. Left unprocessed, it can become anxiety or paralysis, and it quietly takes your willpower away. Worry and overthinking tell you that you need grounding, that you need to come back to the present moment. Left unrecognized, worry can become obsessive. Joy, lastly, tells you that life is beautiful and that it's worth living, and it puts you fully in the present moment. Repressed joy becomes a mania or total emotional shutdown. The emotions are interesting because we can't shut down one without shutting down all of them. So we have to feel the hurtful, the painful, the sad feelings in order to feel the joy and the beauty and everything else. It's like an on-off switch. There's no in between. You got to feel all the feels to have a fully expressed ego and a fully expressed life, which is Leo. That's the next sign we're going into. So this is preparation for successful Leo energy. Let's talk about assessing your comfort zones. Your perception has built ways of operating in the world that feel safe, but that safety often can come at a cost. Notice honestly the ways that you keep yourself protected, and notice just as honestly where you long to grow instead of sitting in this safety. What is the one small step that you could take to support that growth, even if it doesn't feel entirely safe yet? Take a moment, think about it. If you have a journal handy, write it down. Where's a place that you are willing to forego safety in order to grow? Let's talk about another aspect with this new moon, which is square Saturn in Aries. Where is your energy actually going? This square asks a pointed question. The more precisely that you can name where your energy goes, particularly the places where it drains you, or it makes you feel resentful or angry, the more power that you can call back. Think of your emotional life the way that you may think of a thermostat. You quietly set it to a temperature, or your childhood sets it to a temperature that you return to again and again without noticing. For some people, that setting is anger. Others, maybe a resentment. It's the kind of emotion that lingers long after the moment that caused it has passed. For some, it's judgment, a habit of measuring yourself against others, or some invisible standard, or anxiety, always scanning ahead for what might go wrong, or fear, shaping your decisions. So wherever you feel a little raw right now, that's probably where a boundary needs bolstering. If me talking about this is making you feel a little bit irritated, there's a boundary that needs bolstering. For some, thankfully, the setting rests closer to wholeness or joy, a baseline that feels more like ease than effort. Take a moment and notice where your own thermostat tends to rest when nothing in particular is happening. Then gently ask yourself, what's keeping it there? Every pattern has a source, and it's rarely abstract. It's a person whose voice you still hear long after the conversation ended. I like to call it the internal voice of the bad parent. I have one of those too that's always like, you're going to mess this up, or whatever. That was stupid. You're stupid. What are you wearing that for? That looks ridiculous. It's a bad parent. Like, whose business is it to tell me that? I should be my own best friend and not my own bad parent. Whatever it is, let yourself see it clearly without self judgment, because whatever that person or that situation is, quite literally, is where your source energy has been going. And this is such valuable information for you. Underneath that pattern almost always is a need that's gone unmet for so long that the feeling itself has become the way your body asks for it. The emotion itself is how your body asks for it. Anger is often asking for safety. Resentment, often asking to be recognized, to have what you've given finally be seen. Judgment's often asking for peace, a way to stop measuring and simply rest. Anxiety is often asking to feel capable and able to handle whatever life throws at you. Fear is often asking for love. Ask yourself honestly what your body has really been needing underneath the feeling that you keep returning to, whether that's safety, love, peace, sovereignty, recognition, a sense that the world has some semblance of fairness to it, or simply the feeling of being capable and respected. And this is the big thing about this new moon. This is all about emotional accountability. And I'm so glad you all are here, because we can have accountability for our emotional state. Thoughts create emotions, emotions create chemical reactions. This isn't about blame at all. It's about ownership, and it's about returning to wholeness. And I believe in that for you. I like to think of this as flying an airplane. Once I flew in a small passenger airplane with a pilot, and the pilot named the plane Mikey. And I remember clearly the moment we were flying really high and needed to descend to land. And the pilot said, "Oh, Mikey doesn't really want to descend. Get down, Mikey." And I'm looking, watching, and we're just barely descending like 200 feet a minute, and watching the controls get worked a little bit, but nothing's really happening. And one of the things we like to say in aviation is fly the airplane. Always fly the airplane. You can always make corrections, but your body is like your airplane, and you can adjust the controls in order to get the results that you need and that you want. And, sometimes you may make an adjustment and it's not a large enough adjustment. It's not doing what you thought it would. And so it's time to reassess. But always remember, you're the one in control. You can fly the airplane. New pilots will often make small corrections, and then when it doesn't immediately work, they get so caught up in the fact that it didn't go to plan that they just stop making adjustments. They stop flying the airplane. They start thinking about why it didn't work. The lesson here is the same for your emotional state: to stay in the moment, keep making small corrections, keep your awareness keen, and keep flying the airplane. Make the decisions that allow you to take care of yourself. That's what this is about, and getting your power and your energy and your vitality back. You'll need that for Leo. Another thing with this Saturn square is to notice when people around you contribute to the collective energy and how you feel after spending time with different people. And let that information really matter. If you go home and you feel completely just gassed and wiped out after you spend time with somebody, there's something going on there that is pulling your energy reserves. Maybe that person is just energetically bankrupt all the time. And so when you're done hanging out with them, you feel like you got vampired, like that energy just got sucked right out of you. That lifeblood got sucked out of you. Or maybe you leave feeling a little angry or irritated. Like maybe you go home and you're irritated. So pay attention to that. That's a real signal. That's not a coincidence. I know a lot of us are taught in childhood, this is fourth house Cancer energy too, to just push our emotions down. This is the time to feel them and to recognize they're tools, and very important ones at that. They allow us to be fully human. All right, so the third aspect that we're going to talk about with this new moon is Venus trine Mercury. This is about communicating with passion and clarity and feeling into the essence of what you're genuinely attracted to, because that pull is a signal from your inner being about what you actually seek in this life and what your real needs are. Make sure what you're drawn to isn't simply an echo of your family pattern identity. You'll know because if you get it and you're still not happy, that's a clue, okay? But this is about finding real beauty in a kind of righteous selfishness, the kind that's rooted in self love and sustaining and protecting what you truly care about. So, the next thing we're going to talk about now that we've got the three aspects connected to this new moon down is calling your energy home. This is an exercise. The times when we're most vulnerable, our subconscious is listening to us the most, are generally the times where our minds are the craziest. No joke. It's when we wake up first thing in the morning and right before we go to bed. So, in the morning, when you wake up, before your feet touch the floor, before you move, take a nice, beautiful, deep breath. And before the day asks anything of you, stay there for a moment in that place between sleep and waking. Good luck not falling back to sleep. This is where your mind is the softest, the most open, still half formed with the night, still halfway in the subconscious. Notice what rises up first. Is it a to do list? Is it tiredness? Is it a not wanting to face the day? Is it a not yet? Notice who or what is already asking for a piece of you before you've even chosen to give it, before you've even gotten a foot on the floor first thing in the morning. Whatever it is, let yourself see it clearly without deciding that it's wrong. Just know that it's there. Now, gently bring that energy home. You might imagine your attention as something that can travel and return, the way your breath moves out to the world and then comes back into your body without effort. Ask whatever part of you has been lingering somewhere out there, taking your life force, taking your energy, drawing it out. You're giving, pumping life into something outside of you. Call it back and go through your day and imagine everything going perfectly. The things you may have concerns about, imagine them going incredibly well. The people who you generally don't have good interactions with, imagine having a good interaction with them and it going shockingly, surprisingly okay. This is how you can prep your subconscious and your mind and your emotions for better experiences. So let your body feel a little more whole before you even stand up after you wake up. That fullness is yours to carry into the day and see if you notice a difference. That's the first exercise. The second one is in the evening before you fall asleep. Take a moment before your mind lets go completely. This is a really tender time, very permeable. The veil is very thin between your waking life and your subconscious, and it deserves some care before you hand yourself over to sleep. You may have habits of going into thinking of regret about the day or thinking about difficulties throughout the day. This time, I want you to think about the day, not to review it or judge it, but to notice where you spent yourself and your energy. Where did you give too much energy? Where did your energy go without your permission? What moods did you carry? None of this is about blame. This is about being human, but it's also about awareness. I'm not giving you more fodder for the bad parents in your minds to give you more shit about. What I'm doing is I'm allowing space for there to be more agency in your life. So there can be more joy in your life, more space in your life, more of the things that you love, more laughter, more being in the moment. Energy that leaves sometimes doesn't return unless you call it back. And it can leave you depleted. And that depletion isn't a sustainable devotion. If you're depleting yourself for other people or a situation, sometimes we have to do that for short periods of time, like elderly care or sick child or something like that. Those are exceptions to the rule, but we are not intended to live our lives in a state of constant self-depletion. Find the places too throughout your day where joy touched you. where happiness touched you, where you felt uplifted. Say it to yourself, I call my energy back to me now from all of the places where I left it, for all of the places where I gave it and didn't bring it back with me. I release the things that I carry that weren't mine to carry. And ask for your energy back to be fully embodied and let your body settle in. And then signal to yourself and your body, it's done. The day is done. There's nothing more that you can do. Another good practice is to go back through the day and just re-envision all of the things that went the way that you didn't necessarily prefer. Imagine them going the way that you wanted. You're prepping your nervous system for good experiences. Words don't move mountains. Emotions do. Passion does. Your soul does. So that's the energy that you want to connect to before you go off to rest. Cancer is where you received your emotional signature straight from your roots, your upbringing, and some of it gave you real strength. Some of it is your strength, standing on the shoulders of your ancestors. And some of it came at a huge cost, turning vulnerability into something that felt more like pain than safety. Whatever shape it took, this is your heritage, and it remains the deepest undercurrent beneath everything that you do, you believe, and you are. Thank you for spending this time with me. I highly encourage you to check out the playlist. It's got some great songs in there. And what I want you to do, because this was kind of heavy today. I'm sorry, it's Cancer. It was a little heavy. It's also about love and beauty and nurturing. And so this is about nurturing yourself and healing yourself. And what a beautiful thing that is. And so what I want you to do is, as soon as you get off this video, it's only going to take like 4 minutes. Go into the community, find the playlist, it's in there, and either listen to Vitamins or Dancing in the Moonlight by Top Loader, and I want you to dance. Just do a little dance break. This is a great way to call your energy back at any time throughout the day, and just make it crazy. Make it super, dance like no one is watching. Can you do that for me? Awesome, awesome. I'll be here every month doing this for you and with you. And I encourage any feedback, please be active in the community. I really love you guys. I appreciate that you're here. And from the bottom of my heart, I really hope that this is helping you and that we can all grow and learn and become more whole together through the tools of astrology. Much love to you all.